How many den leaders do we have? Handful. Committee members? Cub masters? All right. Just to give you a little bit of experience, I've been in Cub Scouts for like 7 years. I've done mostly bear den, and then after that wolf den. I was a Webelos den leader for a year and a half. But yeah, the rest of that time, about 4 years in bears and 3 years in wolves. So my wife's the committee chair right now in our unit. So, just to give you an idea, I've been involved in planning pack meetings, but I haven't actually, had the same level of responsibility as other people. So I have ideas, but, my experience leans a lot more toward the den meeting than the pack meeting. First of all, so of our den leaders, how many of you are wolf den leaders? Nobody. Bears? 1, 2. And Webelos? Okay. How many of you go and meet your boys or parents when they come into your den? Got a couple? That is something that I found really makes a huge difference just right off the bat, is making sure that you take the time to go and meet the boys and their parents at their house, especially in wolves, because you're kind of setting up habits for the parents and the boys moving into bears and Webelos. I'll just give you an idea of what we do when we go meet parents. We have a welcome packet that we take that kind of explains the program. Most of the parents I found, they don't look at it after we leave, but it does explain a lot of the things that go on there, and so usually I just thumb through it with them, and this is what we do, this is how our den meetings are run, these are the kinds of things that we expect the boys to be doing at home. With wolves it's pretty easy because there are about 10 to 12 requirements that we can't do with them for their wolf badge, and then we do everything else. So, I have a slip of paper in there that says these are the things that your boy has to do with you. And that way, they understand that. Of course, they'll lose it, and then they'll ask me about it 2 months before their boy turns 9. But I send it out every 3 months, and I just try and remind them, look, as soon as they get this, then they can start earning arrow points, and you can do all of the fun stuff in the back of the book. With bears, it's kind of the same thing, and the only difference is that you get to kind of pick and choose which achievements you're doing as a bear. With wolves, you have to go through all 12 achievements and do parts of some and parts of the others, but you have to do whatever it says on each one. So the other thing we do is, if the boy is new to wolves, and this applies to bears and Webelos as well, is that you have to earn your Bobcat before you can get any other awards. And so we usually sit down with the parents and just explain the Bobcat badge and just say, look, these are the things that that your boy's going to have to do to get the Bobcat badge, and if you do these things with him, then he can get the badge at the next meeting, at the next pack meeting. And so what you've done then is you've set it up so the boy gets a recognition right off the bat. The parents are invited to come to pack meeting because they don't want to miss him getting his award, and you make sure that they understand, bring the whole family, all the little brothers and sisters, all the older brothers and sisters, whoever, and then you make sure that the pack meeting is fun for everybody. Okay, so you have a gathering activity that engages, the adults, engages the little kids, so you can have like a scavenger hunt through the church, or, some kind of puzzle game that they do on paper. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones we do. Just games or yells. Have somebody prepare a little skit beforehand. But, all of the activities that engage the families when they show up to pack meeting, because that's how they are going to experience Cub Scouts. And then the rest of it's going to be, the boy comes home with some doodad that he built in Scouts, and he's excited about it. So you want to make sure that you're consistently doing that. If you can get them some kind of recognition at pack meetings as consistently as possible, that also helps, because you can invite the parents and say, please come, he's going to earn a belt loop. Please come, he's going to earn his wolf badge. Please come, we're going to recognize the den, we're going to get the National Den Award. You also have things like the environmental patch, I don't remember what it's called, World Conservation, which is something that you can do in a few weeks. So just making sure that there are consistent recognitions. The other thing that you need to make sure you're doing in your den meetings for den leaders is make sure you're doing the progress towards ranks in wolves and bears. And that way, when the boy completes 3 achievements, in bears, I have to put the caveat on 3 achievements that count toward his bear. Because if you do, do one of these 4, and if you do 2 of those, then only one of those counts towards the bear badge. But, make sure you're giving them the beads. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a little emblem that you get. It's this piece of plastic that has a couple of plastic string things that hang off of it. And there are yellow beads for the wolf and red beads for the bear. And if you hand them out and make a big deal out of it in den meeting when they do it, then they're excited to keep coming back. And that also helps get the parents involved because, they come home, I got a bead.
Are they still going to keep the beads with the new program?
No, because they're going to be earning the adventure loops, and so this becomes a whole lot easier. The wolf badge, my experience is, if you get serious, you can do it in about 2 months on the current program. The bear badge is a little bit more involved, and it takes 3 to 4, depending on how you're doing it. And so, with the LDS, the way that we do it, the boys come in at different times throughout the year, and so, I'll wait a month or 2 before I get them to earn their badge, and so, it may be 3, 4, 5, 6 months before they earn their wolf or their bear badge, and so you don't want them to show up and get their bobcat and then have the parents come 4 or 5 months in a row with no recognition for the boy. And not really have a good time at pack meeting, and then all of a sudden, okay, you got to be there because he's going to get his wolf. You want them there every month consistently, and it makes a big difference that way. It's also a good opportunity for you then to get to know them, and them to get to know you, and to be involved in the program that way. And so, just making sure that, things are set up so that they can be as involved as you want them to be really makes a big difference. Any questions or comments? I got a lot of commentary last time.
I was just going to say, as a committee, we decided to implement the Fun for the Family program this year and kind of build our pack meetings around those so that the family members could start earning patches too. And that's been a lot of fun for families.
That's cool. I hadn't heard of that.
Little kids are like, I get a patch too. So what is that? The Fun for the Family program, there's a book that you can get at the Scout office, and there's 5 areas. You just complete 2 from each area, and you get a patch for each area. So there's 5 patches, and then if you do extras, there's pins that you get too. So like a few months ago, we did Dude That's Rude for pack night, and we did like all sorts of banners, and like so the family could earn that. So it's just like that.
So is it something that like they all or as a troop?
So it's the family members that work on it who earn it. So, we want to do 1 patch per family, but they encourage to do 1 patch per, like each child will get their own patch, just depending on your budget, or if you wanted to have your family pay for it. But that's really it. It's not a really well-known program, but the requirements are online too.
Yep. But it's a lot easier to get the parents to come if there's something going on where, they can get excited or their kids can get excited. I love all the little girls that are like, I want to do Scouts.
Right.
And then
can't do Scouts, they have Girl Scouts.
Yeah, activity days.
No, really Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
They just sell cookies though.
Yeah. But
No, they don't sell cookies. I'm in Girl Scouts, and I'm very offended by that. We sell cookies to fund our stuff because we don't have budgets from other places.
Right.
Well, good cookies, and I know absolutely nothing else about Girl Scouts.
It's a lot like the Scout program. It's fun.
So those are kind of the basic things, just to get your parents to show up at pack meeting, and to get them to send their boys to Scouts every week. And then the other thing is just make your den meetings as fun as possible so the boys want to come, right? I have one boy in my group that his parents come to church 1 month one Sunday out of the month. They're not really involved in, the other activities the church puts on, but dang it, that kid's there every week because he has a blast. And, so if I can make a little bit of a difference there for him, or, even just, have a positive influence so that he knows that somebody besides mom and dad care about him, then that's a big deal. And then, when I talk to his parents, they're like, yeah, we're happy to have him go because he comes back happier and, he gets to go hang out with his friends and stuff like that. So that's kind of the base level. I need to check and see how much time I have left because, yeah, we're doing good.
I have a question. So we have a family in our pack that's not, we're an LDS pack, and we don't have, so we have one family they're not members, and they don't want really anything to do with the church, but their son comes to Cub Scouts, and the dad wants to be involved, but we're not quite sure how to get him involved, where they're very adamant about not being
Right.
associated with the church, I guess.
So there's no reason why you can't invite the parents.
They come to PAC meeting, and their son goes, but he wants to do more,
Mhm.
and we're just trying to figure out how to get him involved more, but we have to keep the LDS aspect in our PAC.
Right. So you're probably doing faith in God. Yeah, faith in God. And so, I just be upfront with them. Look, this is how it runs. If you don't want to be involved in the faith in God weeks, then, that's
Well, he
fine.
wants to personally, be,
You-
Like a den leader or something?
yeah, kind of,
You-
but,
there are a lot of things like you can have them go assist at the camp when they go to the day
Uh-huh.
camp.
oh, that's
You
a
can
good
have
idea.
You have them drive on field trips.
Yeah, you can have them run a station at a bike rodeo. You can have them,
Yeah.
do that kind of stuff.
One,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you
We've
can-
had him, come and show the boys things at their den meeting. He came and showed them how to use tools and things like that, so I'm just looking for more ways
If,
to bring him in and involve him.
You
If,
can give him a position at the Pioneer Derby,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. There's a lot
one other thing I've seen, though, is I've actually seen in LDS units where they have called non-members or inactive members to callings in, some particular area because they want to be involved there. And so you can talk to your bishopric and see if there's some way that they can,
Yeah.
get him involved that way.
Well, we've talked about maybe putting him on the committee, but
Yeah.
I just was wondering if
It sounds like he probably wants to be a little more hands-on. And the other thing you can do is the den leaders can also just make it clear, look, you are welcome to come to any of our meetings. In fact, the more involved the parents are, the better. So, just let them know, look, you're welcome to come help out, you're welcome to, come do whatever. And then all of these other ideas are terrific. But, yeah. One other thing I want to talk about, did you?
Well, I know that you can encourage the parent to help his boy earn his religious emblem, whatever it may be, and because the church is the charter organization, so they know which are our standards, which are our procedures, and if they're respectful to that, there's no reason why they shouldn't come or even be part of it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And if he's worried about, in particular, being involved in the church and getting the faith in God religious emblem for the LDS church, there's a non-denominational one as
Yeah,
well.
and we've already talked to him about that part. We just are trying to get him, we want him to be involved and we want him to help out. We're just trying to figure out ways that we can do it the best way to do it. So
Yeah.
these are really good ideas.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's helping. One other thing I want to talk about really fast is just keeping your parents informed. It makes a big difference. When I go and meet the parents, one of the questions I ask them is, do you prefer to be notified via text or email? I'm one of those people that if I get a text message from a phone number I don't recognize, I'm probably going to delete it. I probably won't even read it unless it says $1 million in it or something, right? But email, I live and die by my email. I run my own business. That's how I keep in contact with my clients. And so, I'm checking my email every day. And a lot of parents are that way too. They'll read a text message from somebody trying to sell them ketchup. But, they don't check their email except once a week. And so by figuring out where they kind of live and where they get their information, that really helps me out, so that then when a den meeting is coming up, a few hours beforehand, they get a text message or an email from me that says, hey, just a reminder, we have den meeting today at 5 o'clock. We meet at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays. 5 o'clock on Tuesday at the church, and we're going to be building a bird feeder. Or, during the warmer months, a lot of times, we're going to go bird watching, which is one of the requirements for the World Conservation Patch. It's also one of the electives, so you count toward an arrow point, it counts toward the World Conservation Patch. 2 birds, 1 stone, you get the idea. Have them bring their bikes, have them bring binoculars, have them bring, whatever, but then they know what to bring, they know what we're doing, they know when we're going to be done, they know, they know to have their boy show up. And really, ultimately, if they do nothing else, I want them to send their boy to Scouts. The other thing that I generally do is I try to, even for the parents that prefer a text message, I try and email out our schedule for the next month or 2 months, depending on what we have planned. And that way they can say, okay, they're going to be working on this stuff. If the boy misses, then they know what to make up so that they can still get their badges or their arrow points or whatever. And that makes a big difference. And then the other thing I do is I try every 3 months. I'm not super good at this, but I try every 3 months. I have a little handout that I've put together that are the handful of requirements for the wolf badge that say the scout needs to do it with the family, or they need to do it under circumstances that are difficult for us as scout leaders to pull together, over a month or something. So for example, they have to track health habits for 2 weeks, and I see them once a week, so I can't encourage them to do that, but their parents can. And so, that sort of thing. And so I email that out, and I'm like, especially to the parents where they've done everything else, I email that out, and I'm like, look, if they do these 6 or 7 things, or however many things, then they can get their badge. And that way, there's that reminder, hey, look, you need to be involved, you need to get these things done, and then, they get the advancements, and everybody's excited. One other thing I want to talk about as far as bringing the boys on is not only do I encourage you when they move up from wolves to bears or bears to Webelos to take advantage of the opportunity to go meet parents, talk to the boys like I do for the wolves. It's more important for the wolves, I think, just because they're getting started. But bears and Webelos, you still need to know who the parents are, know who the kids are, and just kind of get a feel for what they're dealing with at home. But in the LDS units, when the kids turn 8, they're getting ready to come into Scouts, but they're also getting ready to be baptized, and so they have Great to be 8. And if you can be there, again, just to, put a face on the Scout program, to help the parents know who you are, because parents are Great to be 8. And so if you take that opportunity, go in your Scout uniform, stand up there and explain, this is what Scouts is about. We're preparing them to hold the Aaronic priesthood. We teach them about these things. We do the faith in God. It just kind of gets them excited about Scouts beforehand. And it also, again, like I said, it puts a face to a name, a face to the program for the parents, which is kind of important. And then the last thing that we also do during that time is, since Blue and Gold Banquet's in February and Great to be 8 is typically in January, we invite all of the incoming boys to come to Blue and Gold Banquet with their families. So they get an invitation, just like all of the other Scouts, to come and participate in Blue and Gold Banquet. And that's the 20 minutes. So anyway, just make sure that you're communicating with the parents. And if you find out that there are special needs that they have or anything like that, then make sure you're doing that. And the other thing is about every 2 months, I am rather annoying to the parents of the boys who aren't coming, because I just show up on their porch dressed like this. Hey, we've been missing so-and-so. We, just want to let you know our meetings are at this time. We're excited to have him come. We'd like to help him get his rank advancement. These are the things we're doing coming up. I'll print off the email where I, have the agenda on it, and just see if we can get the boys to come. And probably about 75 to 80% of the time, the boy will come for a few weeks at least. before he drifts off again. And sometimes they come and they keep coming. And so that's just another thing to get up there and do. And, you know, with one kid in particular, his dad showed up to a couple of PAC meetings because he was either getting an award or because we did Pinewood Derby or we were doing something that he was interested in. And so, you know, again, by putting that out there and explaining what we're doing for PAC meeting or whatever, you can get them to come and be involved. So that's about all I got. Do you have any questions? Did I address all of the problems or concerns you're having with parents? I mean, it's a bunch of effort, but you know, my feeling is that, you know, like I said before, I might have said this in the last meeting. You know, if I can get the kids to show up, and if they, at the very least, you know, feel like some other adult cares what happens to them, then I'm doing an okay job. And if I can make an impact on their lives, then I'm doing a great job. So, anyway.
Thank you.